Uh, my name is Adrian. I'm part of the Minecraft community and was part of the Minecraft community before it had a lot of the commercial outlets that it does today. I run the World Foundry, which is a very small studio, a studio of one with some assistants from time to time, and I'm based in Sydney. The work that I do is often as a subcontractor for other people's projects, helping them scale their vision and release things on time if they need to do a lot of work in a very short period of time. And I tend to do that using procedural content methods. So much of the things that I get called on to do are actually the computer working very hard and me just checking in from time to time. So it's the perfect job for a lazy person. I also release content on my own through the studio with some infrequent collaborations. And I guess this talk is about that side of the gig. It's really about how do we build things and use Minecraft as a game engine, and what does that mean for the game industry when we think about the sorts of talents and skills that are being developed by people who are using Minecraft in this way. So it's going to be hopefully a talk that runs to time with some space at the end for discussion. And I'd be more than happy for you to put forward your thoughts or questions or even observations. This isn't a one-way street, and I'm more than happy to listen to what you have to say, as well as to offer any opinions that I have as well. Okay, this is just a sneak peek at my website, which is theworldfoundry.com, and it's a list of some of the collaborations that I've been involved in over time. These are projects that other people have run, and they've sort of called on me for that expertise that I mentioned earlier on. Just calling out a couple, Diversity 2 is a project by a fellow who goes by the handle of the Q Magnet, Dan, and it was 6 or 7 of us sort of working together over a reasonably long period of time to produce a fully featured game in Minecraft, which at the time was quite popular. So we got a Guinness World Record for the work that we did with that project, and big thanks to the Q Magnet for all the work that he put in to smooth that over and make that happen. The other one I want to call out is Simburbia, which it's also a free piece of content. It's available today on your consoles, on your mobile devices, and on the PC version of Minecraft. Simburbia is a really showcase map, showcase game that shows the extent to which someone can create non-Minecraft experiences in Minecraft and really cater for the people who are familiar with Minecraft. And that seems to be the sweet spot for the games that are released in Minecraft. So Simburbia is by Gigabov Productions. I had a small role in some of the texturing work that went on there. We ended up introducing about 5,000 new Minecraft blocks to make the city building aspect of that come alive. And a couple of other people who Tim frequently collaborates with and who are part of his team. So these are worlds that you can tap into after the talk to take a look at what I'm talking about in the talk, about this little industry that has grown up around using Minecraft as a game engine. The talk itself today will take you through the frameworks that are available in Minecraft and give you a sense of the skills and the level of effort required to produce a commercially reasonable product. You will have got the hint that there's a fair bit of animation in this talk, so it can be distracting, but it also can be engaging. I'm hoping it's on the engaging side, but if it's a bit too much for you, please do feel free to minimize the window and come back to it after we enter into the discussion session where things will all settle down. The other thing I need to call out is I'm not here as a representative of anybody, and I am a third-party partnered organisation with Microsoft for the commercial work I do in Minecraft. Any opinions I express have nothing to do with the opinions of other organisations. It is just Adrian talking to you as a community member, and I'll make that clear as I go through as well. Okay, so Minecraft is, millions of people playing a thing for millions of different reasons. This is an animation of quite a common game system where you wander around for a bit in the game. This is the game experience. And then something mysteriously blows up next to you. So this is the core of the game. If you enjoy this sort of thing, then Minecraft talks to you. However, it's often been likened to digital Lego, and I don't think that quite captures the experience of Minecraft. And in my view, if we thought that Minecraft is digital Lego, we'd actually be talking about the digital Lego products today, and we're not. We're talking about something different, something that's got its own flavour, and it looks a little bit like this. In my opinion, what we've got here is some of the game systems that are part of the vanilla experience of playing Minecraft. Top left is a farming cycle, which involves planting crops, harvesting crops, eating crops, rinse and repeat. Below that is the fishing system, which is a loot generation cycle. It involves you casting your fishing line and then timing the retrieval of the hook when the fish is biting. So very relaxing, appeals to the sorts of people who like to just accumulate various parts of loot in a mildly passive manner. More aggressively is the fighting system, which is rich and varied and comes with all of the multiplayer tools and techniques and frameworks that you'd expect from a massively multiplayer game. Top right, also as aggressive, is the flying subsystem, which is a frequent source of death and destruction, as is gravity and falling and the games you can build around just falling, like as shown there. And in the bottom right-hand corner is a mining example, which displays really the core of what I think makes Minecraft work for so many people. It's when lots of these different systems come together and emergent behavior is viewed. In this mining little clip, there's a mine cart and there's a track that it runs along. When it gets to the end of the track, there's a sort of a signaling mechanism that causes it to blow up and explode. So that's a combination of, adjusting the terrain so that you can find new things and using the redstone, that electrical system, as well as the vehicles, as well as, this idea of blowing things up. And it all comes together. And I think that's what makes Minecraft super interesting, particularly as a game development platform. However, so, what even is this? These are mannequins in the game called armor stands. And what I'm showing you here is a combination of the mannequin system, which allows you to store equipment for later use, and the electrical redstone system and a scripting system to drive it all. And it all comes together to produce some sort of weird animatronic, monstrous marching and dancing. So if you're after emulating the Macarena in your game, Minecraft has a way of doing that. It's by clubbing together all these little self-defined systems into something that's a little bit more than the sum of its parts. I only discovered that this was even possible a few weeks ago. So that gives you a sense of the depth of the game and the sorts of things that you can pull off just by playing with it. Now, the game itself changes over time, and the way that the authors of the game, a company called Mojang, now owned by Microsoft, the way they do this is by frequently releasing interim versions, test versions of the product, and taking community feedback. And together, this crafts a new experience and introduces new systems and changes old systems and really keeps the game fresh. And there's a little cottage industry built just around trying to stay ahead of all these changes. And you'll see that in the streamers and the way that they make discoveries as new code is released and provide their feedback to their followers and try and garner support for their opinions. It's quite a neat little cycle. But it comes at a cost, because when your game engine is constantly changing, and I'm probably not talking out of my wheelhouse to say, you know, hey, the Unity and Unreal folk will appreciate this as well. When your game engine is constantly changing, it's quite hard to build something that you don't have to keep going back and fixing. So I did a little bit of trawling from some of the conversations around the 2014, 2015 time. And this was about the time that there was a major system overhaul to what's known as the scripting system, the command block system. And the sentiment from the creators, the people who were trying to build their passion projects in the game was profoundly negative, because effectively what happened is every time there was a new release tweaking these systems, these major projects, like for instance Diversity 2, would completely stop functioning correctly. And the impact of that and the frustration that causes was quite profound. So there needed to be an answer to that for Minecraft to become a fully featured game engine, because you just cannot have that level of disruption and rework to be able to, you know, invest in producing a product and expect to get any returns from it and to have the players have a good experience, unless you've got a firm foundation to work from. So in the top left-hand corner is those streamers that I was talking about. It's just a snapshot of YouTube with a Minecraft search. And it talks to the community that is actually quite excited about making new discoveries and to, you know, becoming the experts in something before everyone else. It's quite an exciting little area of Minecraft. On top of that is layered the new products that provide the stability and provide the platforms for us to build things. So Minecraft Education Edition, which is this second screenshot here, is a version of the game that it's pretty stable, and it actually lags, you know, maybe by a couple of years, the other releases of the game. And this is a place where lesson plans can be created, made available and used in educational settings for student engagement. So that's one area of content production where Minecraft has responded to the stability problem by saying, we'll just lock it down. We'll move forward very cautiously and carefully, and those lesson plans, they're going to be valid for 12, 24 months. This other part of the world is the Minecraft server ecosystem on the version of Minecraft that is cross-play, that works on consoles, PCs, and various other devices. And it has an ecosystem that's fueled by innovation. There are all these server networks who are competing for audience and retention of that audience, and they tend to involve content creators to introduce new features as fast as they possibly can to excite and delight the player community. So that's a very vibrant community that is interested in new features and taking them on board, but also has to somehow cater for the stability of the player experience. And on the very right-hand side, it is a thing called the Minecraft Marketplace. This is a subsystem in what's known as the Bedrock cross-play version of Minecraft, where you can go in and see community creations and you can buy them. That's also where you can get Simburbia for free and Nox Cruise, Terra Swoop Force for free. But also there are things you can buy for the purpose of killing an hour, 2 hours, or even there's 20-hour adventures and role-playing extravaganzas in there. And often there's lots of toys, which is the area that I tend to focus on, that do interesting things that you can pick up and play for a bit and then sit down when you have to go and make the dinner. So the marketplace is the focus of this talk. However, the tools and techniques also apply to the sort of content that the streamers are interested in, the sort of work that you would do if you were in the education platform and the sort of work that you may do if you're catering for server networks. So what exactly is this talk all about? That's a lot of intro and prelude to get us to halfway through, and now I'm going to tell you. So the vanilla player experience, the joy of being a person playing Minecraft is on the left, and it's this goal of resource acquisition and moving up the technical tree and just generally taking over the game and putting your stamp on it. So one of the first things you do in Minecraft, and this is a hint if you've never played it, is go and punch a tree until it breaks, and then pick up the wood, and then you can then go craft things. On the right-hand side, I've got a couple of examples of what is basically AAA content delivered through Minecraft by very serious teams that are doing licensed work for, in this case, other organisations that I won't name just in case I get a copyright strike. So Game Mode 1 is a premium content delivery team who, in this case, have created some amazing variations and Minecraft flavoured versions of IP that you would look at and go, goodness gracious, this is a global phenomenon. What's going on here? So to get there, Mojang and Microsoft have released a bunch of platforms and products and sort of tested what works and cross-pollinated ideas between them. So these systems that I talked about emerge organically. The community and the products based on those platforms are the engine of this change. And in this case, it's partly the way in which content can be delivered by people like me. So I can offer my content to Microsoft to host on a subscription service, and you can subscribe to that service and get access to, a couple of hundred different things for a low monthly fee. Or you can hit up some of the community sites like Planet Minecraft or MCP EDL to pull down community creations where they're really just offered for the experience of sharing something that is unique and fun and maybe of interest to other players. And then the result is, as I said, these AAA commercial games and the fact that we can now develop things for Minecraft as a game engine. So this is where we shift our attention to, well, what does that really mean? Here is a prototype of a flying game experience that I put out called Fly Spy. You're a spy and you fly and you've got to get out and around to various secret sites to work out what's going on in the war. And it's a massive environment. It's something that I had to build, and I didn't build it by placing every block. Instead, I used tools and techniques to make this possible. And the frameworks that are provided by Minecraft are really the engine of that. One of the frameworks is the cosmetics framework. And here I've chosen some purposefully conversation-inducing examples. Here you've got, on the left-hand side, the sorts of things that we can build to customize the character experience. This is an avatar with a bunch of different stuff. There's a blinking red eye, and there's a peacock tail, and animations and all sorts of things. On the right-hand side, there's various skin types. There's more vanilla game experience, slightly higher definition, but you bring your texturing skills and your art skills, hopefully a little bit better than mine here, to bear to produce something that players are interested in, and it rounds out the experience of playing the game. The environment that you move through is a main consideration in Minecraft, and I would consider this to be the main framework that it offers. It's the voxel environment and the way that it supports different block palettes and what you can do with those block palettes to engage the player and keep things interesting. This is a game on the marketplace called Starblock, and the purpose is to travel around a reasonably sized galaxy and claim systems. You have to find these white beams and turn them red, and then that system is found. The environment, as I said, is very difficult to work with if you're just placing a block and moving and placing another one. So there are tools that assist in doing this. This is my favorite. It's by a fellow by the name of David Vieira, aka Code Warrior Zero, and community friends. It's an open source tool. It is called MCEdit. It's for editing Minecraft. So with this tool, I do all sorts of weird and obvious crimes like the ones you see here, but David and friends are responsible for the tool itself. They're not responsible for what I've perpetrated on your eyes just here. At the player level of scale, environment design becomes level design in a really meaningful way. We need to provide mechanisms for the player to stay interested rather than just give them giant statues that they can look at. And that layer that is player scale is most important in your workflow as you're working in Minecraft, because it's the engagement piece. It says a player wants to come back and, in this case, land in the hangar using their special flying rocket suit. From an artist's perspective, working at the level of voxels, everything is retexturable, and here is an example of the block palette being extended so that there are new blocks that do different things. And you can see there's animation, and I look at this and I go, oh yes, I will have some tetanus, please. It's a nice rusty environment that might suit itself to building factory things, or maybe some future dystopia. In the environment, alongside the player, is the idea that you can use items and craft them and combine them in ways that resemble digital alchemy. So here I'm using the letters TNT to create TNT. As with most game engines, there's a way to customize the NPCs and the other objects that you can interact with, and we'll talk a little bit about the tools to do that. There is a de facto tool that's called Blockbench by Janus X11, and it works really, really well for animations and modeling, and it's your go-to tool in Minecraft. To bring it all together and to make it function, there's a very comprehensive scripting engine. This is a prototype for my Domino product that launched this week, and it's a bunch of command blocks which are a scripting item that spawns these dominoes, which you can then knock down and have fun with. The scripting engine also lets you change the environment and make the player's experience of the environment dynamic. So here is GeForce Factory, available on the marketplace, asterisk, this is a paid promotion, where it builds big roller coasters from the player just placing a few little blocks, and then they can race around with their friends, or they can explore castles, or there's all sorts of interesting things there. What I wanted to do, though, with the final part of this talk is just go through one product, start to finish, explain how those frameworks are used, and then we'll open it up for discussion if time permits. And the one that I'm going to talk about is Spells. It's, if you look up in the right-hand side here, it's an extension to the Minecraft system that allows you to use words to craft objects. So it's a puzzle game, and it also is a survival experience because you can go into the world and spell things for resources. This is what the game looks like. So here I'm placing letters, and that results in an object, and I can then use that object to solve the puzzles. So it wants a chest, there's a chest, and it gives me a chest, and in the chest is the next set of letters that I can use to solve the next puzzle, which is how do I write the word torch? So mildly educational, bit of fun. How did I do it? Well, I started off in that MCEdit tool, and it was used to create the letters that then became the entities and the objects. So a little bit of scripting. I'm a programmer. That's my default lazy way of doing stuff. So that's where I started. I then used a tool on top of MCEdit, sorry, in addition to MCEdit, called Amulet Editor. And this is a screenshot to build out the environment, to do fun things like, make architecture and twist voxels into the shapes I wanted. Amulet Editor is a tool that works with the current versions of Minecraft, and it's also a great time saver. Here I'm copying the mechanism that is used to verify that the puzzles are completed correctly. The items that are the letters and the way that they work are all generated and used, and then custom recipes, this core mechanic of Minecraft that takes things on the left and makes the thing on the right is really the way in which I introduced the game element to this and made it familiar to players. Under the hood though, and this is really the payoff for this talk, it is all data-driven APIs, and the way you interact with the API is through JSON files. So for the letter lowercase a, I define a few things that describe the behavior of that item. And on the right-hand side, I define a few things that describe the way it looks. And this pattern of behavior and, in this case, resource definition is repeated throughout the Minecraft game development experience. So it's very accessible. It's very available for people to use. The entities in spells are all defined in the same way: behaviors and resources. Tentacles on the left, barnacles on the right. I can sit on the barnacles and squash them. Here's Blockbench by Janitex11. So on the left-hand side, you have a reasonably comprehensive texture editor with the ability to import if you're more happy with PBrush or other sophisticated tools, Microsoft Paint. And then on the right-hand side, a hierarchy definition, and in the middle, a way to interact as a CAD tool. And there's also an animation editor that generates and exports all the required JSON definitions that hook into the API system. So it's very straightforward. You work in this graphical tool, and then you say, send this all to Minecraft, thanks. The behaviors for the entities are defined in exactly the same way. Here on the left, it's using existing APIs that Microsoft provides. And on the right-hand side, it's definitions that have a few magic strings, but effectively it's the same thing. You're just pulling in API definitions and providing data to it. Very straightforward. So that's all well and good if you want to make Minecraft-looking games. However, that's not the end of it. I do know we're coming to time. I would suggest popping onto Twitter and having a look at Godlanderp's Twitter. This is a game in Minecraft in the Java edition, which it's completely in Minecraft. Polyboy has created some of the art, but the only thing that's happening here is those mannequins that I showed you earlier on, they're just jumping around and responding to player input. And he's overloaded the shader pipeline, I understand it, to get this really amazing effect. And there's lots of examples of people who've worked in Minecraft and gone on to game development studios and education. So the idea, I don't think we will have time for questions and discussion, but we'll pick it up in the Discord. The idea is that the next wave of talent is probably going to be very familiar with the sorts of things that Minecraft is asking them to do. Work to an API, create custom models, and hook it all together using the same sorts of thought patterns that you use in Unity and in Unreal and Godot and those sorts of engines. So thank you so much for the time this afternoon. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk today, and a big shout out to Technically Games. I have enjoyed the morning and I look forward to the afternoon as well.